Inaugurated as the Associate Members' Cup in the 1983-84 season, and following on from the short-lived Football League Group Cup, this competition was renamed the Football League Trophy in 1992. That same year saw the reorganisation of Division 1 to break away and form the Premier League, and the Football League then became responsible for just the lower three leagues of professional football. The competition was renamed again in 2016, becoming the EFL Trophy, coinciding with the Football League rebranding to the English Football League. Alongside its many rebrands as a competition, the sponsorship and therefore de facto name of the Cup has changed with similar alacrity through the years. Starting with the Freight Rover Trophy, through the Sherpa Van Trophy, Leyland DAF Cup, the Autoglass Trophy, the Auto Windscreen Shield, the LDV Vans Trophy, Johnson's Paint Trophy, who served for 8 years as the longest spell as a single sponsor, the Checkatrade Trophy, and the Leasing.com Trophy. In 2020, the sponsorship broke away from the workmanlike mould of the previous 34 years and turned to a growing fast food giant from the United States. This is its current iteration, and today, on Gravy Boys, it's Papa John's Trophy. Welcome to Different Gravy, not just another Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Richard Miller, and my co-host now thankfully has a fully functioning co-host, thanks to the wonders of Lemsip, Beecham's, vitamin C, zinc, bed rest, and most importantly, Invermectin. It was definitely Invermectin that made all of the difference. My friend and yours, Dr. Luke Gledall. How are you doing today, Luke?
I'm good. I'm glad you're taking the same drug regime that Joe Rogan took when he got the vid the other day.
He doesn't know it, but he's a mentor figure for me. I just follow him in everything that he does.
Okay, so I'll look forward to some tales of your DMT in the future and how scary nature is.
DMT, jiu-jitsu, lots of surgeries. What a great guy. Cigars. I'm going to start smoking cigars as well. I'm being quite contrarian about things.
You're going to say that massive for pussies?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to all of this, but hopefully you can delay it for a bit so I can just enjoy my regular co-host, Rich.
We'll see. I mean, once that deworming pill kicks in, who knows where I'm going to go.
What better segue do we have than deworming pills to get into Sheffield Wednesday's week in news?
Let's do that.
Breaking hoo-hoos.
Breaking hoo-hoos? The first thing's just marking the passage of time. That is something I won't dispute. I believe in every conspiracy theory going now, but I still believe that, time as a construct happens, and therefore it's worth noting that today marks the 154th birthday of that old institution, Sheffield Wednesday Football Club.
Beautiful. What better way to celebrate than not having a game? Honestly. Have a game called off because the
other team have more international players than
because Sunderland has some kids off in Lithuania or something. I don't know.
Actually, it was our kid in Lithuania. I don't know if you saw Bailey Peacock. Farrell got another.
That is true. That is true. That's probably why I got Lithuania on the mind.
on what looked very much like a sort of school all-weather pitch. It looked like a particularly bad AstroTurf pitch in Lithuania.
In fact, if you squint and you look closely, you can see those balls that had the little dimple spots all over that you really hated getting whacked at you because it would sting like nobody's business.
And we know that's the sort of Cantona sort of test for a goalkeeper. If they can do it on a wet Tuesday night in Lithuania on a 3G pitch, then they can do it anywhere.
The world is your oyster, BPF.
He's got a gift. He really does.
He's got a gift, gonna keep it out the goal. It's time to move your body.
Oh, love it.
Do you know that in Canada, like people like rock DJs seems to be like the big Robbie Williams song?
It's maybe the greatest work of art that humans have ever produced. Is that fair to say?
I don't think it's the greatest work of art that Robbie Williams has produced.
I'm a big fan of rock DJ. It's definitely that's something that will get me moving towards the dance floor of an evening.
You've changed so much.
I've always been this way.
I can forgive the stuff about you thinking that frogs are gay, but this is this is just nonsense, Rich.
No, I've always been a fan, and they're now sort of semi-cancelled, so I don't know how much we're allowed to enjoy. There's always that separation of art and the person when they turn out to be an absolute bell piece. But Right Said Fred's Deeply Dippy is also an evergreen classic for me.
Wow.
Come for the I'm Too Sexy, stay for the Deeply Dippy.
I'm just riddled with bad music now, especially after hearing the new Drake single, which samples Right Said Fred, which is pretty terrible. Pretty terrible, I must say.
Oh dear. Drake's a recurring character on this podcast.
I guess he is. He's on wall behind me, but you can't see him. Anyway.
Yeah. We should get on to some other news. There were more things that happened.
That was Sheffield Wednesday flavoured, yes.
Yes. And we flagged this up a little bit. We talked about whether there might be some late window drama for Wednesday, a surprise transfer in the offing. And Uncle Darren provided in the shape of Saido Berahino. So big Uncle Daz, cuddly Uncle Daz.
Cuddly Uncle Daz. Brought us in a striker who went for a princely transfer fee a long time ago and was once decent, and is now kind of not really convincing or pull up any trees in the Belgian leagues. That one
of the bad boys of English football.
Apparently so. He didn't seem particularly bad. He just seemed a bit petulant.
Yeah. I believe he's mainly played out wide in Belgium and has not. I think he's got like a goal every 3 games on average or something like that, which is
that better than John Bostock's time? Is that where John Bostock ended up?
I don't know, but Bostock looked the business in this when he played against us earlier in the season. So.
He did, fair enough, yeah.
I don't know. So how do you feel about this? Obviously, he is someone who comes with oodles of baggage.
Yes, he needs to quarantine, but also we still have to wait for the rest of his baggage to come over. Hopefully some of his baggage has got lost. Got lost in Amsterdam, because apparently that's the place for baggage. If you went by Amsterdam. I mean, it's probably a very cheap signing. It's kind of come out that Dan Housen understands that he's taken a pay cut, I read this morning. Okay. And also then basically the contract's just to the year. So it's a permanent deal to the end of the year.
Right.
I think considering the fact that I was seriously looking at strikers and thinking we're done. I was thinking we're done in terms of numbers. I mean, I feel from our conversations that you've had a kind of mentality to say that, you were having a bit of a Obi-Wan Kenobi with a Stormtroopers moment where saying this is not the striker we're looking for in Lee Gregory.
It's interesting because I think I was sort of maybe getting towards somebody in a more classic target man mold. What Berahino, if he performs in the way that he has previously, albeit a long time ago, he brings a clinical edge that I don't think any of the strikers we have on the books have. So I think there is potential to feel that it's quite a good move on that level. There's also the fact that there seems to be a personal connection between Darren Moore and Berahino. So they actually in the week watched the Rio Ferdinand podcast. There's other people involved, but he's the famous one. So it's Rio Ferdinand's podcast to me, whatever I don't know what it's actually called. But it's a lot.
You were saying if it was a Nerdist podcast, then Rio Ferdinand would be the Chris Hardwick.
Yes.
And then the other two would be the Jonah Ray and I can't remember the other guy.
The Footballist podcast with Rio Ferdinand, and he is the most footballist.
Footballist of them all. Yes. Anyway, so the footballist of them all podcast.
It's a decent length of conversation, you know. I think it's about an hour and 15 is the episode length, but they talk a bit after he leaves, which I was less bothered about, to be honest. But there's 45, 50 minutes of him having a conversation, and it's not all buttering him up and soft serve questions. They play a clip at one point from Darren Fletcher, who was his captain at West Brom for a time. And he starts with a fair amount of praise. You know, he just says like he's surprisingly strong. He's really quick, and he's really good at breaking the lines and like finding spaces. And he's like got basically unerring accuracy. Like he hits corners with his finishes, which means, you know, he's got great accuracy. So that was really good. He then also said, you know, he's got a wee bit of a tendency to kind of feel sorry for himself. And it's never, you know, things that go wrong are never his fault. And I would say through the interview, there's certain anecdotes where you get to see the other side and you're like, yeah, I can understand as a young kid, that would have been a horrible position to be put in. And it kind of humanizes him to an extent. But there are also stories where Darren Fletcher has got it spot on, and he does. So just to give a classic example of him never being in the wrong, he says, oh, I got robbed and that's why I got sacked by Stoke. Well, when he tells the story, he got caught drink driving by the police and he was supposed to be playing a reserve game the next day. That's why he got sacked by Stoke. He got caught because he got robbed in London. But, you know, he's like, that's why I got sacked, is because I got robbed. It's like, no, you got sacked because you were drinking and driving the day before you were supposed to be playing a match of football, which is a breach of your contract. So you were doing that anyway. The robbery is what brings you to the attention of people. So you could argue you got caught because of that, but you still were doing the things. So they don't push him too much on that, to be honest, but it does kind of show you that there is this side to him, but he seems to love Darren Moore. And the interview's recorded just as Darren Moore took over at Wednesday. So Rio sort of says, oh, you should be texting your mate, Darren Moore, and seeing if he can give you a place. And Berahino says, he said, I did. I texted him and say, congratulate him. And I said, you got to stay in the championship because I'll come and help you next year. So there's this connection. And supposedly when he joined the West Brom at 12, hardly speaking any English, Darren Moore was the first person to speak to him and sort of took him under his wing a fair amount. So he definitely feels like, even from that short conversation, you sort of want to give Saido Berahino a hug. He's a bit of a kind of sad case, and he's classic, needs an arm around the shoulder type of player. And I hope Darren Moore's the person to do that. And hopefully we get to see some of the really good stuff from him. Because he's 28. He's not done, you know? This is not a player who's shot joining us to eke out some final moments of their career.
I think you raise a really valid. I can't really kind of refute your points. I'm going to try and kind of come along with you on this ride. You know, try and do a little pinky dalliance between me and you, and we'll skip along on this kind of notion. I was wondering. You know, you said I scrolled through our WhatsApp messages, Rich, and got back to something that you put. I think this is the fundamental question, I think you said, and I think it's a brilliant spectrum you've outlined here. Will he be a Ranger, surprisingly good, or a Bothroyd, bad in every possible way? Question mark. Yes. Yeah. Which, I mean, we do often wonder about the Ranger Bothroyd spectrum, really.
We do. Because that's it. I think Ranger, for everything he did outside of Wednesday, his period of time with us was very successful.
I think he was surprisingly decent, I think we can say. Because, I mean, how was it? Did he get 3-4 goals and a kind of...
3-4 goals and important goals for us as well.
Yeah, and about a 10-11 game kind of return?
Something like that, yeah.
Which for a loan spell is pretty damn decent, really.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes there's a mentality, you get a player in and then they start to kind of fire near the end of the limited spell. And that was back during the days of like the emergency loan, right? Because I think that was the incredible thing. I think during the lockdown, I think going back and looking back over the season reviews of Wednesday during the time, it's staggering just how many players we had.
Yes.
It's like I don't know. It's like the cast of Hamilton or something. You know, some of the understudies coming to the fore.
Yeah.
You know, through that, and so no, I think he was good. I think maybe you're making him a little bit better than he was, but I'm also wondering if I'm kind of forgetting the importance of some of those goals as well. To be fair, as part of this argument. So, I think there's.
Sorry, go on.
No, I think there's an upside to this. You know, there's definitely an upside. It feels like it's the type of gamble a club like Sheffield Wednesday in this position would make. Really, it's a cheap, speculative gamble. You know, it's funny because I was just thinking about this, but I don't think there's much connection between the two. Well, they were friends; they did play together. So Darren Moore and Chris Wilder played together. It feels a bit like a Chris Wilder signing.
Yeah,
it feels kind of that ilk of the past of people like Brian Clough being like,
yeah,
you know, we've got someone on a cheap because we know he's talented, but you know he has one of the problems within the classic triumvirate of football players. Like, you know, it's either money, gambling, or women, basically.
Yes.
Or actually, I don't know, maybe modern day footballers have a fourth one, which is that, well, I guess there was a bit of drinking here, right? So
there's a bit of drinking. I think there was some nitrous. He's pictured taking nitrous at some point.
He was doing whippets, was he? He was doing whippets, was he?
Yeah, he was
hippie crack, as it's labelled by the tabloid media.
He was taking the Devo approach to his problems. But yeah, I think that's why I mentioned the sort of the Bothroyd thing, because I think there's plenty of bad players and gambles that don't work out, but Bothroyd seemed to just wholeheartedly destroy whatever team spirit was there. I don't know quite how he managed it, but I think we broke our wage structure for him, and he was so underwhelming. I think it just sort of ruffled everybody's feathers, but that doesn't seem to. I would be surprised if that's the case with Berahino. It's a different sort of situation, but we'll see. I mean, there's plenty, like a Wilder signing. There's plenty of opportunity for this to be another miss. And Wednesday, I mean, how many last summer we read the book, which is name escapes me. Is it All Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah. And that honestly, Sheffield Wednesday's history is taking the cheaper option and it failing time and time again.
Right. Like, it's not a unique thing though, is it, to be fair?
It's not unique, no, but I can't really remember a story where one of those gambles paid off for us. So it'd be nice if this was one of them that did. I suppose Ranger is that in a way, to an extent. You know, we got more out of his time than I think anybody had any right to expect. And since then, that was sort of a peak for his career because he's done nothing since. He's just gone down and down the pyramid. Whereas I think a lot of fans would have been fairly happy to see us sign him that summer.
Oh, I was going to say the same. I was going to say, yeah, it seemed a bit strange and a bit disappointing we didn't join us in any great sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really intriguing one, and it was a very fun addition to things. I think if we didn't have such a full looking balanced squad, you'd be more worried. But the nice thing is this is not a Jeffers or a Graham where everything is rested on Berahino's shoulders.
Yeah.
Gregory is a perfectly good striker. Canberry looks all right. We know Patterson can grab goals. Windass, once he gets back, will get goals. It's just, can Berahino be another addition to that? And that's quite a nice position for him to be in and quite a nice position for us to be in. Yeah,
definitely. I was going to say the same thing, just similar mentality to what you're saying. We're waiting for Pato to get firing a little bit.
Yeah.
If he will fire. But I think he will definitely have a purple patch. You know, he's a player who can comfortably get at least 10 goals in this division. And then, as we know, Windass when he's on song and when he's on form and when he's fit, will, as we've said, will absolutely destroy this division. To be honest.
Yes. Yeah. He's going to be chewing butts left, right, and centre.
Exactly.
Just chowing down on butts. The other bit of news just to cover off is there's a rumour that there's some interest in Massimo Luongo from his homeland, from Australia, mate.
What better time did I have to alienate any of our Australian listeners by saying that I had some chicken sole recently and it was a bit shit?
Yes, it's pretty underwhelming.
It is underwhelming. I don't know why it's so revered. Anyway.
That's why they eat so many shrimps, because the chips taste like rubbish.
Anyways, salts to our Antipodean friends and listeners. I will concede that Tim Tams are pretty great, though. I'm going to be honest.
They are pretty great.
And actually better than penguins, which is kind of sacrilege as an Englishman.
No, it's fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and the variations are good as well in Tim Tam's favours. Like, there's double chocolate, there's caramel. They're all pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I've had a mint penguin before, and it was gross. Truly gross.
So I guess the possibility of this is, I guess, interesting since he's injured, but then the local press have said that, Perth Glory have taken interest in Massimo Longo in the final year of his contract. Maybe we could get a fraction mass.
A fraction mass.
A fraction of our money back on mass.
Fraction of our original feedback.
Yeah.
It's interesting because there was this rumor going around that he had quite a bad injury. And then I think last time Darren Moore was interviewed, he said they were quite pleased, actually. It wasn't as bad as it looked. Like, it was more of a kind of low-level injury, not a tear surgery type injury. So they were quite pleased about that. So it's a strange one. I don't know what the season's like in Australia, because it might mean he just disappears at an odd.
Well, they still got a month left on their window, haven't they?
Oh, so, have they? Okay.
Yeah. I have no idea what the season's like there, since you naturally just think it's just by the regular kind of northern hemisphere, but then it's a bit different down there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
It'd be a shame to. I mean, it would be so. When he plays, he's much better than that level of football, but he's just so rarely got himself onto a football pitch for us. It's hard to feel bad. If we got some money at this stage, I'd feel happy. I think we've got the squad to cope without him, and we played most of last year without him. We wouldn't even notice the difference.
No,
just one less person in the physio room.
One less physio and cash sponge at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. I really hate getting to this position that we are in. To say, because I don't know. I think we've had a few. He's had a few injury skits, But then, like, I remember the beginning of last season, being like, if we can get action mass firing.
But we're doing the same this season already.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. But now I think we're a bit wiser to say we're a bit further down the road, aren't we?
Yeah, we've been down this road before, and it is bumpy. Yeah. Well, there you go. So for today's episode, our brilliant idea, your brilliant idea, really, is to take in the totality of Papa John's, because this is going to surprise people. But they don't just sponsor for the two lowest leagues in league football. They also make pizza a bit like Domino's. And so this is, I know, I'll give people a moment to deal with that news. But
if you want to pause the podcast and just take a good 30 seconds to just
take a walk, take a lap. I think it's one of those.
I'd recommend the box breathing technique of breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4.
Yeah, that's probably a good call, I think. As you take a lap. So we're going to review the match and experience of being back in this wonderful storied trophy once again, being back in this competition, lauded as it is, and also review the experience of eating Papa John's pizzas. Yes.
Yeah.
It's finally happening. So first off, we're going to talk football, I presume.
Let's talk football. The main dish.
The main dish.
And then we'll have a dessert, which is a savoury thing. Unless he went for a sweet. I don't know. Did they do a sweet pizza? Did they do a pizookie? Oh, we don't know. Rich is gonna tell me to be okay. Let's go. Interesting from the lineup because we knew that we had some, the hilarity of this competition that the people are like, oh, come on, take it a little bit seriously. I was like, okay,
the rule base in terms of the lineup.
Yeah. So I don't even know. I guess the interesting thing because looking at Wildsmith was in that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But was your boy BPF off on international duty at that point, or?
Yes, yeah, he would have been because I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night. He was playing for Northern Ireland in Lithuania.
Okay, there we go. So Joseph Wildsmith, top 40 Joe, has gone all Andrew Cole on us, and now sounds like a religious sect leader. Did you notice that?
No, what's this?
He was christened Joseph Wildsmith in this game.
Oh, was he?
Joseph Wildsmith, yes.
Do you know, I have this weird memory, and I don't know whether it was a April Fool's, but for one game of football, I remember this distinctly. They said Paul Scholes has said he wants to be called Paul Scholes. And it's one of those things that is ungoogleable. But it's so deeply ingrained in my brain. This one game is like, they really made it, because like what commentators are like when you do something like that. They're like, oh, look at this knobhead. Paul Scholes plays the ball through, like that.
Sure, it wasn't a promotional tip for Mosley Shoals, the album by Ocean Coliseum.
Maybe it was.
That'd be fun though if every player could change their name for one game, because I think every player should be able to do that. A bit like now you're saying this, a bit like every team can change its kit once for one game.
Have a wild card change up kit. Yeah. That'd be fun.
So maybe that's it. Maybe that's Joseph Wildsmith, ladies and gentlemen.
Joseph Wildsmith. Wow. Okay, I hadn't noticed, but I like it.
It's a nice rebrand, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel a bit more assured with Joseph Wildsmith.
Yeah.
He's got some strong arms. That'll parry me in bed.
No matter where you lie down on the bed, he carries you to the centre of the bed.
How's your night of wild abandoned with Joseph Wildsmith? Oh, he's chucked me all around the bedroom, literally. So it was a strong-ass lineup, though, I'm going to say. It was really nice to see Brennan and Sal getting a game alongside Corbeneau and FDB. Top reserve action, I said, and then I offer Palm's Den feature.
Yeah.
So clearly, even though we're going to talk about Papa John's, clearly, Rich, we're looking at Papa Chan's trophy.
Papa Chan's for the taking.
That's what he said when he saw it. He licked his lips. That is Papa Chan's for the taking.
But this was, so we put out a pretty strong lineup, and those stupid Geordie daft kids didn't know what hit them, really. Let's be honest. We smacked them about the place.
We did.
Sent them back up to Geordie land with their legs tanned. Whipping boys.
Like it was a Newcastle or Woolley or Newcastle Bash Street kids.
I'll make your bum red raw.
So anyway, since there's Papa John's trophy, I said clearly we're going for more than a slice of the action. We're going for the entire shakaroni with garlic and honey mustard dipping sauce on the side. Local franchisee menu options may differ.
Well, yes. That's an odd. It's not one that's known to me.
So a bit of discrepancy here, folks. I've got a lot more notes on the game. I mean, this is our main focus because the Mackems kids are off in Eastern Europe, backpacking, and it's not a new installment in the Hostel franchise. So on Wednesday's 154th birthday, we're not playing a game of football. So let's look back at the Papa John's game. I said it's adventurous stuff all around, even before Big Dom does a cultured half-volley loft back to top 40 Joseph in the opening minutes.
Warm him up.
There we go. 10th minute, Sal breaks and strikes hard a young Barcode's keeper. Den is slightly off the parried rebound. Electric. Just like going to a friend's house and finding out of a spare Parmesan-crusted meatball pepperoni papadilla for you. And for any of our listeners, who haven't transformed to the Scary Worlders competition being sponsored by a pizza company, I want to offer some comforting old school analogies. So this was a bold plum color of a play from the Johnson's paint catalog. Some of the styling of the event, like, I said Newcastle kids wore a wrongish Woolsford kit to the event. Not quite Liz Hill in the black Versace dress, is it? Disappointing we're not seeing Portuguese delights from the Wall side, much like the blue cheese and pulled beef pizza big in Portuguese Papa John's. So interesting comment from the commentary, Rich. Robo Neil described the game to be half competitive. Do you think the glass is either half competitive or half kick around, depending on how you look at it?
It all depends on perspective.
It does.
Yeah, because it did have a bit of a pre-season vibe to it.
It did. The fact like we're only opening the south stand, so the cameras are just blazing around, kind of a cavernous Hillsborough.
Yes, it's weird that. I mean, I know it makes sense that that's the stand where all the action happens anyway. So it's where the luminaries are. It's where the players are. So I know it makes sense to open that one stand. But from a TV perspective, it would be better to put people on the north and make them sit lower on the north, like close the top half of the north, and then it would look like there was actually fans in the ground rather than the empty stadium.
Or you could put the camera on the other side of the pitch, really.
Whoa.
Did they have a permanent kind of camera set up on the south stand?
Yeah, basically. That's all set up for... Right,
okay. Fair enough.
Because, well, normally there'd be fans, wouldn't there, in the north?
There would
So
usually.
you'd have to clear fans to build some sort of platform. Anyway,
so a lot of chances. We're absolutely all over them. 14th minute, Corbineau blazes down the wing again, rolls it in. Den teases across, and Sal blazes over. 60th minute, Corbineau slips it through wonderfully for Wing, who struck it just wide.
Yeah.
23rd minute, I was delighted by this. Den does a faint step over to send a young Geordie for a hot dog. And no, listener, not the American hot dog pizza from the South Korean Papa John's menu there in 2019. Such a good move I would attribute to Island Breeze in the Johnson's paint catalogue. And just as Rich and I are doing a rare move away from the regular format here, we're actually trying a second one. We're in person over the Zoom, but I'm going to show Rich a picture of the hot dog pizza.
Wow.
Which is essentially, we can put it in the show notes as well, but essentially every slice has its own singular Frankfurter on it. Why wouldn't you just chop up the hot dog and have it like a pepperoni?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gross. It reminds me, it makes me think a lot about the I Think You Should Leave sketch where he's trying to...
Yes.
He's trying hot dog.
I've had a pizza before where the hot dog was in the crust all the way around.
Yes, that was Pizza Hut did that one, right?
I think so, yeah.
I remember...
not as hateful as you might imagine.
I remember coming over to Canada and then they talked about it on the American side to be like, oh, American Pizza Hut's getting this. And I was like, we've had it in the UK first.
Yeah, we were there first.
Suck it.
I've never had the one with little hamburgers on the outside.
The little hamburger crowns.
Yeah, I've never had that one.
Yeah.
Never had the pleasure.
28th minute, FDB Rasmus wide from a Canberra layoff. 30 minute, we nearly bag with Canberra. Yes. I was a bit disappointed he didn't do that, I'm going to be honest. Great work on the touchline, FDB. Holding off his child and then pacing it forward to slipping Florian, whose fresh shot was decent. Not as fresh as Garden Fresh, Papa John's much loved vegetarians are, as it cannoned off the post and he could not capitalize on the rebound. Just for everyone at home as well, that would be Buckingham in paint colours. I had a weird moment where I kind of figured out the gap in finances between these two clubs. So seeing a Newcastle play with the 73 number tells me enough about division of wealth between these two clubs.
Yeah. But I mean, it was really pretty much total and utter dominance. We just sat in their half and built chances.
I know. Well, the fact that I've still got 3 more chances to tell you about before half time just shows it was just complete one-way traffic. And I think we were a little bit unfortunate to only be they were fortunate to only be 1-0 down at that stage.
Canberra hit the post with that chance as
he
well.
Did. Yeah. Amazing 1-2 cutting apart the children defense. Corbineau hits it well. That's palm behind for a corner. And that's not Pizza Corner, which was the Indian pizza chain acquired by Papa John's in 2015. That chance is champagne gold in the JPT books. But the 40th minute, that came the goal. We broke through. This is a crisp finish, almost as crisp as the Asian Grains gluten-friendly crust from Papa John's. From Sao, as the ball is chipped forward beautifully by Wing. FDB nods onto Sao to control and slip into the corner of 1-0. Sao sending us into fiery sunset with that paint stroke of genius. That was a wonderful goal, and I think
it was a really, really good goal.
I think we can go and talk about like some of the performances and what we think about this later, because I do want to have a little bit of a brief Wednesday kind of focus in this weird kind of preseason game before we get into it. But I really like I've always liked the look of Deli Bashuru in a number of roles. Yeah, but I think him popping up in that second striker role and having that nodded on assist was just beautiful. Yeah. I really like the look of both those two, Sao and Deli Pishuru, the partnership they were forming.
No, it really worked. It worked nicely together. It just makes, in a way, it makes me a little bit frustrated. We just have seen so little of Deli Bashir. I know he's raw and there's mistakes, but Adeniran's making mistakes. But we know there's enough upshot to make it worth. It's worth the odd moment he gets caught cold, because most of the time he looks like he's got the full picture in his head. But
I wonder if a bit with FDB, though, it's sort of a bit like every game looks like 4 games from now, with a run of games, he could be some player.
But he never gets 4 games.
I know he never gets 4 games, but that's kind of, unfortunately, a bit the problem, really. I thought that FDB would do well in this midfield with the numbers that we had before we bought Wing and Adeniran and Byers.
Yeah. And by the way, that setup was Adeniran, the header.
The header was Adeniran? I thought it was Deli Bashir.
No, just double checked.
Oh dear.
But they were occupying very similar spaces and making very similar runs.
It's true. There was so much kind of fluid kind of interplay along that kind of mid-forward line, people breaking the lines.
Yeah,
I could have sworn it was FTB.
I've got a website saying it's not, and then I've watched it back, so
it isn't. Okay.
But still, I think the point's valid though. FDB looked really good. He got shots and efforts off. He played. Mm-hmm. He made things for other people. He looked. Mm-hmm. He looked, as you say, almost sort of playing off the front man. He was the furthest forward at the two. He looked a real headache for them to work with. And you've got to remember, this is under 21s. He's just turned 20. He's an under 21 himself. So for some of the senior players, you're sort of thinking, well, of course you should be doing better than these kids. Deli Bashir is just a kid. He's the same age as he would be. He could play in this game. If we were putting out an under 21s team, he could play for us. So the fact he stood out so much it almost says more for him than most of the other players on the pitch, because he looked better than his peers by such a distance.
It's interesting, yeah. I mean, when it came to halftime, I noticed on the 45 minute, I said Sal's having a field day against kids. He weaves in now of them. And I mean, coming into halftime, difficult to say how much fun this game is and how good it is. As essentially, again, it's against children. We certainly pulled them apart, much like the cinnamon pull-aparts in their menu, by having them for desserts. That's the confident strokes of Conquer colour paint, by the way. So having a delight of the game so far, but not much of a delight as the Papa John's Tuna Delight in his native Netherlands. And that's Quail Ridge in paint, folks. Yeah, I really like the look of Sao in this one, I want to say.
He looked good. He also looked, because potentially you're looking at a position there where we've got 3 good options. I think Johnson has done okay. He's equipped himself well when he's played there. Brown's, we've both picked out Brown as being a very good performer, but he's playing in that same position, doing something different with it. Obviously, he's right-footed, which means there's a different emphasis to the way he plays. But the fact he seemed to be really good at picking moments to play off the fullback and the centre back, and I don't think either of them comfortably knew where he was at any given time, and that's where his first goal came from. In that same sort of, they didn't know where he was going to be, where he's going to pop up, and then he's got the goal, and he's confident. He took on lots of shots. I don't know how many shots he personally had, but it felt like a lot.
Well, we had did we have 29 shots overall? I think it was
29 shots overall,
and 8 on target, something along those lines.
Yeah,
you're the man with the stats out there.
But yeah, 29 shots, 8 on target, 16 off target, and 5 blocked. But I'm wondering if I can find particular individual ones. They're not giving. Oh. So apparently, so only had 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 off. Wing had 3 shots off target. Deli Bashiru had 4. I found it. This I've got to say, SofaScore might be my new favorite website.
Wow, hefty praise.
It's giving me some stats. It's giving me satisfaction, is what it is, Luke.
Rich doesn't need to, if he ever commentates a game, doesn't need to ever write out any stats on a bit of paper for him to refer to. He can just fire up SofaScore.
SofaScore, that's the one.
That's the one.
You know you're in a tin pot competition when even the BBC doesn't have a page dedicated to the match.
I'd rather talk about women's football instead, I guess.
And pretend like it's real football.
I feel
like there should be some acknowledgement. When they go like, Man City signed Deborah Meaden, and you're like, oh, I thought for a second like you were actually telling me Man City had signed. I think there should have to be some demarcation that like it's the Man City women's team. I don't know how you do that, but
I usually use my eyes and see the lady football player.
I'm actually sex blind, so I just see sports people. Actually, Luke.
Well, there we go. There's no cancelling of Different Gravy podcast ever, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it, we've tried to
annoy
cancel
me when they're like, Liverpool have inquired about the availability of, and then it's like Scylla. Is it Scylla Sal? No, it's Scylla Black. It's another. It's a mild. It doesn't really affect my life in any way, but it's some motivation. Anyway.
No, but I always find it weird when it's like, well, let's focus on what's going on in the Liga tonight. I'm like,
yes.
I don't know.
But we had 69% possession that first half.
Wow.
And 20 of our shots were in that half as well. So it was really, we were popping. 20 shots is basically a shot every other minute, more or less.
Pretty much, yeah.
So this is as dominant as it gets, really. Would have been nice to have converted a few more, but that's it's still it was a very enjoyable thing to see.
Kick off the second half, 49th minute, Sau was denied. Really was offside. Beautiful free-flowing stuff to feed in Sau, but he's off. 51st minute, Johnson slams it in off the post. That was absolutely beautiful. Controls it down on his chest and smacks it off the far post. He celebrates any way you would expect a goal by looking dejected. Almost if someone pissed all over his all-day breakfast pizza. Ochre dreams in paint.
Yeah, it's... I suppose he'd justify it by sort of saying it's like a reserve match, or like I'm beating kids, so I don't want to rub it in kind of thing. But it was a very, very fine finish.
It was indeed.
And I like him. I think I maybe prefer him at left back. He's another one that looked good all game. I know this is, again, we're well trodden that this is kids. But I thought it was another good shift put in at left back, and all that move started by a really good cross from Corbeau. Like, it was dangerous, and that's it was cleared, his cross, but only as far as Johnson, who just dinked it home.
Just so casually chested down.
It's very, very nice.
If you didn't really need to put much on your chest just to get it down, get it in the spot to volley it home, and then he goal in off the post is always fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, speaking of goals off the post, 53rd minute, Palms makes it 3-0. Palmer with this is his second senior goal for Wednesday, I think.
Is it 3 now?
Or is it 3?
He did get one last year.
Who did he score against last year?
It was the MK Dons one, and then I think he got one last year.
And that was about like 10 years later, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's something crazy. Let me.
You can Google that while I carry on and do my spiel.
You be pithy.
So the Owls America sponsored Worksop Express times his run to perfection like a striker, and much like his biggest fans in the States, gives his keeper the eyes and then makes his finish as simple as a cheese pizza. And those references of folks are Hot Cherry and Teal Topaz.
Great finish. great composure, great finish, and what a pass from Wing. Because he played that from
our
our own half, I think, through a crowd of players.
Why was Liam Palmer being the one to just make the beautiful strikers run into space? He just completely exploit the two centre-backs in the middle, get it 1-on-1, and then dink it in like he's Clivert or something. What's going on?
Can I say this in hushed tones? Could it be something off the training ground, Luke?
Oh, I don't know.
Palmer scored the winning goal on the 30th of January against Preston last season.
I've forgotten that one. I remember it being a rare breed. I remember being there for his first goal against MK Dons.
Well, I think both of his previous goals had been fairly bungled efforts. This was the unerring precision of a certified hitman. This was Henrik Larsson in his Pomp-esque finishing.
It was. On the commentary, Rob O'Neill wondered if the Newcastle kids taste nights like this. Gives them experience of better things. I think the taste is of purely just Papa John's.
A strange aftertaste that everything has from there.
Hey, let's calm down. Let's slow our roll a little bit. Jumping ahead of ourselves. 68th minute, Corbeanu wears Bonswell's pants down, and Bonswell tries to keg Corbeanu as a result. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah. We nearly saw peen, or at least a bit of bun.
Nearly saw a bit of Big Theo's Little Theodore.
We nearly saw the whole Corbeanu show.
Nearly saw his Long Hamilton. From the free kick, Palmer now reckons he's Clivert and takes down a free kick and swivels one over the bar. Palmer making a very late run to Paul Warhurst standard at this stage.
Yeah. He's seeing off the threat of Berahino before it comes.
And I think that was pretty much it, really. I think that was pretty much all the chances. And from then, I think it kind of petered out. But I'm grateful we got three beautiful goals in this game. One late moment I want to kind of focus on that was of the game, but not actually in the game itself.
Okay.
Hearing an older fan entertain some kids by partaking in a Barmy Army chant told it all about the game. Entertaining the kids by playing with them. Just in our instance, we're giving them a toweling.
If Palmer had scored that other one as well, I mean, he may as well have just retired. Like he's never ever going to match. If he'd popped that one in the top corner after his through ball of delight, I mean, yeah, that's it. He would have completed football.
Put down the game of FIFA. And trade it. take it down to trade it in because
you've got all the achievements.
You got all the achieves. Palms. You've got
all the achieves. I put my summary was the Ted Lasso in football match form, questionable in so many ways, but the end result is unavoidably uplifting.
Oh, very good.
Because it shouldn't have worked, but it did. It was a salve to the spirits, and hard not to feel like you've got a shot in our arm, our collective arms, heading into the rest of the season. Because that was lots of things were clicking. We got to see, in particular, seeing Sal for the first time was very, very pleasing. He looks a real threat.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot to be said for the golfing quality for this, but I would say that it's only putting us in a better position in terms of our confidence levels.
And it's so unlike us to just really put a team to the sword in that way.
That's true.
How many games where it's like, well, we should really easily win this, and it's either we lose or we eke out a 1-0 that's nervy at the end, like batten down the hatches and almost get caught out. So to keep playing, getting more goals, and really, I mean, if it had been 8-0, that wouldn't have flattered us. It was pure dominance.
It was indeed. Though I do.
It would have been very harsh. I think some children would have cried.
The disappointment in his times with nullified focus and nullified attention is where's Neville Southall to say, "Well done, Liam. He's only 14 years old."
Yeah, absolutely.
Which again, shades of Michael Owen from Liam Palmer. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But so that I think that's the thing. Looking at it, what was nice for me, I thought Brennan just looked so comfortable and so classy. This is obviously it's a Premier League youth team. They're being told to do things the right way. They're playing out from the back, and they're clearly being taught the right things. But Brennan is of an age with some of them, or similar sort of age, and he just looked so confident and comfortable, and he's ordering. I saw him ordering an offer around, taking control of situations, and stepping in, making an interception and pulling away with the possession at his feet. Really good. I really loved watching him.
Sure.
I
thought the bit where he was so comfortable, we actually ordered the Papa John's pizza for afterwards. Was,
we talk about people getting a cigar on, but what he did was he rolled up a slice of Papa John's pizza like a cigar and munched on it throughout.
Actually set it on fire and smoked it. There we go.
Yeah.
Taking a full hit of stuffed crust to the dome.
Instead of slippers, he wore Crocs. He's just got his own twist on things. He's his own guy. But yeah, not much to dislike, really, in that game.
Not at all.
Wing obviously looked... It's the best wings played for us. I think if we could see a bit more of that wing going forward, that would be very, very nice. He looked like he'd got Bannon's cheat codes in terms of just keeping possession in every situation. Just didn't give the ball away. Looked really clever little flicks, and just a very positive performance and good win. I don't know how this all shakes out, this competition, but we're part of a weird league now, so we've got that to get through. It's an odd competition, isn't it? Because what it holds, similar to all the other cups in the country, is you do get a day out at Wembley if you get to the final. And what tends to happen with it is nobody cares until about the semi-final. And then it's like, oh, actually, we could get to Wembley. It would be quite nice to go to Wembley this season. And I suppose it depends what else we've got going on as a club. If we're in a promotion race, we'll probably resent the time and effort that it takes all the way through the season. But if we end up having a more middling season, it is that sort of competition that can give you a bit of a cherry on top of a campaign when maybe there wasn't much prospect of that. So yeah, it's an interesting one. We're just going to see how we go.
Mm-hmm.
So Harrogate and Mansfield are the other two teams in the
Northern Group.
Yeah, and Harrogate won their game against Mansfield. So yeah, is it Northern Group F? Is that right?
Probably.
Anyway, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
So are we going to move on to the...
Yes,
to the hub?
Let's do it. Yeah. I think we should I'm going to kind of elect what our review scheme should be, Rich. We should do it over out of 5 gravy boats. 5
gravy boats. Okay. Is that per item or for the chain as a whole?
That's for the meal experience as a whole.
Okay. So,
come on, Rich, take me through what you ordered.
Okay. Well, I downloaded the app, which has a 2-star rating on the Google Play Store. It's a great start.
Did you get the stickers? I believe I've got stickers.
Didn't get stickers.
I think the stickers on the iPhone one. Yeah, I've got the app, but I couldn't be asked to sign up for it, so I just didn't bother. Gonna be honest.
Well, I was very, very lucky to be one of the, I'm sure, frighteningly few people offered a 50% off offer on my meal. As long as I spent £20. So I was bounding my way to 20 quid and beyond, really, because I felt the more I bought, Luke, the more old Papa John was shelling out in my favour. That's how 50% off works, isn't it?
It is totally.
So I got 2 pizzas, one with the works on it, which is pepperoni, Italian-style sausage, ham, chestnut mushrooms, green peppers, onions, and black olives. And I got that with a stuffed crust, And I also got a WAWAW, which is created as part of their sponsorship of the Paralympic Games. So it's created by 6-time Paralympic gold medal David Weir. Gold medalist, sorry. He's not a 6-time gold medal. That would be really weird. And it did get me thinking, could we have League One or League Two team or player-based pizzas in the future? A Sheffield Wednesday pizza, for instance.
Maybe so. Maybe we can but dream.
The werewolf consisted of pepperoni, onions, green peppers, chopped tomatoes, sweet corn, and mushrooms, and I got that on a standard crust. I did figure out when I was writing this down, I just ordered them based on the look and vibe. I think I ordered 2 fairly similar pizzas. Looking at it, but there you go. What can you do? For the purpose of science and this experiment, I also got some 4-cheese tater tots and some chocolate scrolls for a dessert.
You went far ahead of this experiment than I did. I'm going to be honest, because I just went purely pizza. I did 2 lots of pizza on 2 separate days. To be fair, because the first time I went, I did. So I'm going to just bomb myself into the Sheffield Wednesday podcasting family as always, and our friends at Al's America. So I actually have been a bit behind listening to their excellent podcast, but I was listening to their second to last episode last night, and I had to get all the way to the end to get to the bit I really want to know, which was at the end of it. They had each one of them offer their favorite pizzas.
Oh,
and I don't think that I can judge with what I'm going to say. I'm going to select here. So I'm going to hold my cards close to my chest for a second. What I will say, though, is unfortunately, Justin Desaurier, New England Owls, goes for a white pizza with broccoli on, prompted Paddy to tell him to fuck off rather loudly. And I think I'm going to join in with telling him to fuck off. That's not a good, that is not a good selection. However, your boy Luke enjoys pineapple on pizza, which is a contentious thing and makes some people get very,
I do too, actually. You won't hear a dissenting voice here, although I didn't go for it.
No, so I have a very strong memories of being a young boy and hanging out with my dad taking me to Pizza Hut on a Saturday morning for lunch, and then having the hot, deep, crispy pan with the pineapple. It comes out and it's hot, and it's even though I do remember watching, I know like a friend of mine showed me a video by a guy on YouTube who basically said kind of pineapple on pizzas kind of like hot fruity jizz.
Why?
I don't know. I can kind of see his point. I'm going to be honest with you, but I really enjoy it.
I mean, it's hot and fruity. That's undeniable. It's the jizz part that's very questionable.
Okay, well, he was a gay man, so maybe he was a bit more focused.
Well, he was loving it, was
No, he wasn't. But I don't know, maybe he's a bit more jizz focused than the rest of us. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I've been saying some questionable things here. So I went for the epic stuffed crust 14-inch with just pineapple. That was the first time.
Pineapple.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Well, I get really annoyed with places being like, you can do this whole pizza that we've selected for X amount of dollars or pounds, and then be like, oh, you can do a regular one, and then you can put it on for $2.50 for every topping. I'm like, it doesn't cost $2.50 every topping. You just give me the same financial benefit from ordering a Works. You don't buy them pre-frozen. You're not getting out a San Marco from the freezer and being like, well, it's what was on it. We got them on bulk. No, fuck you. Why are you encouraging me to be like, have a The Works, have a Meat Lovers, if you would? I'm like, no, give me pizza autonomy.
But I can't help but feel you're only hurting yourself by having just a pineapple pizza.
No, I'm not. I'm enjoying myself. I'm not hurting myself. I'm enjoying myself. Saying that though, Rich. So I have that.
Fruity jizz.
I got my fruity jizz pizza.
With nothing to balance it out as well.
I enjoyed it. I liked it. I had a good time.
Walters,
leave me alone. Don't put me in the Justin Desaurier box. So outside of that, I also then I was looking for the menu, Rich, and this was funny. Rich, and this is something else we can get onto here.
Okay.
me and you, remember time we went to, we'll come on to this in a second, but Rich and I were in a time in LA and we had a similar mentality. I was so taken with the fact that they advertised a very, very large pepperoni pizza. They called it the Shack-aroni pizza to coincide again with that weird sportsman-related sponsorship of pizzas, like menu types.
Well, Shaq is so I don't know what's happened mascot-wise in the UK. I think they have taken John himself off the various bits of packaging. But in America, part of the Save the Brand was to bring Shaq on board. So that I believe that will be why there is a Shaq-based pizza available for you. Shaq is now a board member. There are special Shaq Papa John outlets and the enduring appeal of Shaquille O'Neal. Mainly because he's just a giant. People just like the fact he's a giant man.
Tall people. Yes.
Yes. So did you go for it?
I did. I went and that's what I had last night.
Excellent.
And that's what I've still got the box on the front on the floor because I just had 2 cold slices before we got going. So there we go. That's my orders. But I feel bad that I didn't join you in the appies because the appies and the desserts, I think they have some good choices.
Some interesting choices there.
Even like the really terrible big chains that here, like the Pizza Hut, they've got a Pizookie that looks like it's got Luke's name on it, but then it never has Luke's name on it because Luke never wants to order from Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not ordering for a small family. You know, I'm ordering for Luke, and I should eat less food, basically.
You could eke it out over several days.
Nah.
Nah. I'm never quite convinced that there's a good method of reheating pizza. I know everybody's got their own.
I've got one that I
just do it upside down in a pan and put some water in, put the lid on, and then it's perfect. No, it's not.
That's exactly what I do. So shut up.
I just think that I think the thing is, pizza is what's good. What the good thing about pizza is cooked fresh is you get that kind of meeting of well cooked dough for your crust and a kind of spongy, gooey bit of dough where the sauce and the ingredients have met the edges of the dough, and then you just lose that. You just get a completely dry item. I think from a reheat. Regardless of, I've tried the pan thing. I've tried both ways up in the pan, cheese down, base down. That's
the way he likes to fuck.
Anyway, we're not getting into this. We're not getting into the reheating or that matter. Anyway, so I ordered and studiously followed on the tracker. They've got a Domino's-esque tracker where you can kind of. It's in the oven. It's being checked for quality. It's on its way.
So they've gone the way of Domino's.
They're sort of trying.
Domino's part of the tracking system.
Yeah, I think people like to feel there's momentum to things.
Like to feel you eat something that has a chip inside.
Maybe, but more than just there's a propulsion. Things are moving forward. The plot is being it's being progressed. That's what we want to feel. And I think by having a more granular phases to that, it pleases us.
We were like, pizza, we don't want it to be like Mad Men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So 30, 40 minutes went by going through the various phases. Then it changed from on the way to enjoy, but hadn't arrived.
Ooh, oh, wow.
Surely
there'd be a delivered.
That's what delivered was. Just enjoy was delivered. We've delivered. Enjoy it. Shut up about it. So enjoy was their last phase. That's
I think I should tell them when I'm going to enjoy their pizza.
So I called up and got a very sort of taxi rank-esque. Coming around the corner now. He's just coming around now. No, he'll be there in 5 minutes. It was at least another half hour. It was a long, long wait for this pizza. I was over an hour waiting for the pizza. And Papa John's is 7 minutes walk from my house. I should have just gone and picked it up. It's my own laziness, but I was hoisted by my own lazy petard in this case. One thing that did sort of mollyweight me in my my aggressive weight was they had a game on the tracker called Pop a Jump, where a little green alien is jumping on pizza boxes in kind of a balance. I don't know if you've ever sort of played that arcade game where
Doodle jump.
No. It's more like you're trying to stack things up. So it's like the columns are moving across, and you want to try and stop them so that you make a nice big pile. So this is what you're doing with pizza boxes. Basically, you jump, and where you land on them, they sit in the pile, and the pile can get unwieldy and fall over. But in the end, I got up to 82, which I was really quite pleased with. So that was a big highlight of the evening already, and I hadn't had a bite to eat. So do you want to do your pizza's experience, or do you want me to go into the pizza experience now?
You go see it, I think, because I think I've overcooked the reviewing the Wednesday game, and I think you've overcooked the pizza review, because I don't think I've done the level that you've done of this. I've got more of a summary at the end.
Okay. Okay. So the works. I'll hold my hand up and be honest. This was me stacking the deck. My limited experience of Papa John's in the past, I know that it's it's a weird concoction that works for me. Olives, dog food-esque chunks of sausage, and then occasional deep laid piece of pepperoni. Nothing too exciting with the stuffed crust, but pleasing texture all around, sort of softens everything up to a fair extent, and they're pretty decent effort there. The WAWAW was a bit wet and mushy. I think fresh tomatoes can be a bit of a cruel mistress when it comes to pizzas. Especially when you add in mushrooms, peppers, and sweet corn. It can all be a bit they've got a bit of moisture to them, all of those. The saving grace, again, was getting those occasional deep-seated chunks of pepperoni. Just getting a little there we go. Wasn't expecting that little spicy hit. Thank you very much, you little salty bastard. I didn't know I was going to say that. Oh, dear. This was on the standard base, and I think their standard base is a bit better than the kind of Domino's equivalent. I find Domino's a little bit cardboardy at times.
Wow, interesting.
A little bit crackery.
Crackery, yes.
I like a bit more of a doughy feel to things. So yeah, I kudos to them on that front. I do find that their pizza has a strange aftertaste. I don't know whether it's like the oil that they use in their pans or something, but there's just almost everything that you get from there has this through line of this final taste. Anyway, it might be the tomato sauce as well.
Oh, we didn't get any through lines on your shirt, Rich.
No, I didn't. No, I'm allergic to those, being a Scotsman. Mm-hmm. What do you think of there's a debate to be had around the sauce. What do you think of that? Do you get the same kind of yellowish garlic sauce?
Yeah, that's a big focus, actually. So that's something I've got an analogy about that in my kind of write-up summary, but I don't know what to feel about the garlic. They say it's a garlic aioli, but it just feels like garlic butter. Yeah. It just feels like it's butter melted with garlic somehow. I don't know. I kind of like it, but I'm kind of disgusted by it. I'm going to be honest.
Exactly the same. I think it's the first taste is quite good, and then everything else is bad. Like the texture, it's got it's butter, but it's the synthetic kind of butter. It's weird. It's a bit like how I imagine those Huel things, like those meal replacement sort of things would be. Just like kind of, I don't know.
Like Soylent.
Soylent, yeah.
It's the Soylent of butter. You can believe it isn't butter because it's Soylent.
Yes, exactly.
It's people.
Okay, I'm gonna get through. Okay, I've got the tots, tater tots.
Yeah, how were they? They sound good.
Well, a mixed bag. Okay,
They
were bad. They were bad, but maybe my favorite thing from my meal. I think the thing is they're baked, not fried. This is the kind of pizza place conundrum. They're always looking for things that they can put through the pizza oven.
Right.
And tater tots, I think anything potato based I think one of the joys of ordering in is you generally get something that's fried, whereas a pizza place is not going to fry that more often than not. They're going to put that through the pizza oven. It's going to be warmed up a bit, toasted a bit, but it's going to feel it's sub cooked in the oven level cooking that's going into these things, by and large.
Can I ask you something about your own experience? So here's something I've got to kind of chip in with this, and it's something we can unite hands. We can shake hands across the borders that we are. The thousands and thousands of miles we're apart here. So I don't know if this is a North American thing that's kind of translated across to the UK. Do you, with every pizza, do you have a pepperoncini pepper?
They used to do that with all of them. I think they now only do it with. There's one I think they call the Greek, and that's the only one that has it.
Wow.
And I think so. Papa John's does it occasionally, but they're the only place that I know of that does it. And they only do it every now and then. Do they do it all the time? Is that like a standard thing in America?
Yeah.
Or is it just okay.
Yeah. Approximately 2 to 3 inches length with a mild spice level, the yellow green pepperoncini is Papa John's trademark pro bono garnish. Not my words, the words of the frillist. They've also saying from this article that basically Papa John's chief ingredient officer, his name is Sean Muldoon, said they briefly tested taking out the pizza boxes and you wouldn't believe the outroar that it caused. Like it was the world was ending. So, and apparently also, it actually he estimates that 25% of the pepperoncinis that come out of Turkey end up at one of the Papa John's 5,000 stores across the States and around the globe. Wow. So, but I don't get it. I don't know. It's not something I'm used to. It's not something I want. So it kind of irks me.
I think they've just got rid of it here.
Right.
I do remember them having it.
They found an insubordinate amount of pepperoncinis littering the compost.
Yes, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But so for the tots though, they did have crispy bits. Those crispy bits were nice. They tasted pretty good and very generous covering of cheese. And I went for the barbecue sauce with them, and that was really good. It was a good barbecue sauce. So I finished them, absolutely tanned them. Even though I would say like they are bad taste.
Much like the Barcode's kids. Rich had his way with them.
So my final item is the sort of dessert item, the chocolate scrolls.
Chocolate scrolls.
Yeah. So basically, it's like a little roll of pizza dough, a bit like a cinnamon swirl sort of idea, but chocolate.
No. I don't like places where they're like, we do a savory one of this, and then do you want a dessert one as well? This as well. I went with a girlfriend to a place that does like kind of high end nachos, and it's quite good. But then they're like, oh, we do a dessert nacho, and I'm don't want to fucking know. Just get out, fuck off.
Well, you see, Domino's does I think they call it a chocolatina or a chocolatino, which is a personal sized pizza with a coin of chocolate on top. No other toppings, just the chocolate. But actually, that weirdly really works.
Oh no! Oh god, no!
That weirdly works, but this was a bad experience. The scrolls. So as you've hinted at, they do a couple of savory versions. They do a Marmite savory version and a bee sting one, which involves chili sauce in some way. They also do a cinnamon one alongside the chocolate. And when I opened the box, the smell of Marmite hit my nose. And I was like, what have they done here? Have they given me Marmite ones? I'm someone who really dislikes Marmite. You either love it or you hate it, and I really dislike it. I did a little bit of like picking and licking just to satisfy myself that they hadn't given me straight up Marmite, because I think I would have known fairly instantaneously. So I was convinced enough that they weren't to have a bite, but it was just very weird and unpleasant. So it sort of tasted like cinnamon. It sort of tasted it was very salty, and it tasted a little tiny bit of chocolate. Horrible, really horrible. Not recommended at all. So that's my run. That was my Papa John's journey, Luke.
Interesting.
That was my slice of the action.
Yeah.
What's your What was your slice of the action like, mate?
They were both perfectly serviceable. The stuffed crust is okay. Stuffed crust is, I've talked a lot about. I even a man who purports on my instructional design portfolio a reheating pizza thing, and I talk about the pan thing. Okay. It's the best. It's of the reheating options. It is the best. I'm going to be honest.
Is it or base down?
I'm not just telling you how I like to fuck. I'm leaving that off the podcast. We've already been sordid and questionable enough. I've already said some things that I apologize for wholeheartedly in the moment. So that was nice. That was nice to have cold for the pizza. That was good. But when I was eating it, it was hot. It felt. It doesn't feel kind of fresh. Domino's feels a certain degree of freshness. I guess here's the interesting thing within kind of what I'm finding, like the world of Pizza Hut, unfortunately, is I've been most displeased about being in North America, and that Pizza Hut is as long gone as a sit-down restaurant.
Yeah.
Which I guess is
on its way out here as well.
Yeah, but I've heard the pandemic has put an end to that, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so that is upsetting. But every time I seem to have Pizza Hut being delivered, it seems to be a degree of greasiness.
Yeah.
Domino's I find less greasy. This was kind of in the middle, and I never know how much grease you need. I think you need a little bit of grease, but it's difficult to kind of get that greasy nature kind of right. So this kind of never really feels. I'm looking down at the pizza box, and their slogan of better ingredients, better pizza.
That's their big thing, isn't it? It's like they're fresher and whatever else.
But I don't think it's as good as Domino's. I'm going to be honest with you. But then it just feels like a weird middle ground.
Mm.
The only thing I can think is that sauce. I mean, I like the sauce, the dipping sauce.
Mm.
That feels kind of top tier, and it feels something individual. But yet it just, again, the same thing I've said before. It feels like something I shouldn't like.
Do you get the Domino's? Do you get the herb mayo sort of thing from Domino's?
The garlic kind of mayo, yeah. Because if you said garlic dip, that's what I'd expect. I'd expect like a herb and garlicky mayo-y dip.
Because I think that's the best thing about Domino's is that dip.
Yeah, but then you're finding yourself being like, I'm tired of eating. In that case, you can just give me a pizza of crusts in the dip, and I'd just eat that. And when I'm having that experience, it's making me think this is a very average pizza, because we shouldn't ever be inverting the nature of pizza to say that the crust is the thing you're looking forward to the most.
I mean, it's big talk from a guy that had a pineapple-only pizza to talk about inverting the nature.
Oh, fuck you.
Never heard the like of it in my life.
Disgusting. But I find that some of the better pizzas, you're then finding that like, oh, the crust is good as well. I can enjoy the crust as it is because the crust is so good. This crust is kind of average. The sauce is kind of average. The cheese is kind of average.
Yeah.
The pepperoni on the shakaroni was kind of average. Shakaroni also, I'm looking at the box right now. It's a 15-inch. It's not. I was expecting bigger. I was expecting ridiculous. Something that I'd have to.
Big, is it?
I was expecting something I'd have to like slightly kind of angle through the door.
Considering that Shaq, like there's a meme of Shaq like holding normal things because he's so big. Yeah. You want the pizza to be laughably, outlandishly huge, don't you? You want like a 24-inch pizza, I think. You
do, and I was just disappointed that this isn't.
You can have a little like nap in a slice. That's what you're after.
I know like Blaze Pizza near me does a special large pepperoni only like online order. And I'm always curious, like, why do I have to, why can I only order this online?
Got to get that pepperoni in special.
Maybe I just do it online. If they can't do it or they don't want to do it, they just go, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, would you have accepted if it wasn't huge, but the pepperoni was shaped like Shaq's face?
That'd be good, but I don't think I'd recognize his face that much. Like, this is the thing. He's popular and he's become a figure. So I mentioned when me and you were in LA and we had Shaq iced tea.
Yes.
There's a picture of me gurning alongside the Shaq's face.
Yeah.
Because he's on every TV advert here. There's like inks he does. He does inks for Canon. I think in the States he does one of the like Gold Bond He does.
He's a great businessman. I can't wait till he's president.
But it's just like, why do I want things branded with his face or his name?
Because like him holding normal things. He's really big. He's really, really big, Luke.
What's it with his brand associating itself with strange ex-sportsmen? We've got Jimmy Bullard, we've got Shaquille O'Neal. Who's the other person? Who's the Weir, in effect?
David Weir is a Paralympian, six-time gold medalist, Paralympian. Less weird.
It's strange. It's very strange.
But I think you're forgetting with Shaq, he's really big, Luke. Like you or I would hold a water bottle and it would look like a normal water bottle. And you hand it to him and it's like a tiny water bottle that you would get on an airplane. Yeah. He makes it look like a baby's water bottle because he's so big.
Did you know that the original thought for the bit of Granada studio is where you're walking through the borrowers? It was just the concept that you walk through, it's just Shaquille O'Neal, and you're like,
just walk between Shaquille O'Neal's legs.
Yes, exactly.
Oh dear. So yeah, I think probably average is a fair.
It's a fair call. Yeah,
fair call. So where does that put it for you, gravy boat wise?
I'm going for 2 3/4 gravy boats.
It's pretty good. I think I might go a tiny bit more. I think I'll maybe like it slightly better than you on the whole. I think I'm going to go 3 gravy boats, a third, top up that third gravy boat and take it all the way to the top. But similar ballpark, really, similar feeling.
So averaging out as 2 7/8 gravy boat. I can't believe it's almost 3 gravy boats.
The worst thing that's happened, I don't know whether this is like a micro economy within Chester, but Domino's and Papa John's have set the price of a large pizza at like 18-19 pounds. That seems to be, and like what's annoying here is kebab shops and individual pizza places feel like they can get away with basically being in that same ballpark. And I just innately feel that's too much money for.
There's a lot of money for a pizza.
For pizza. And that I just can't shake that. That's like, this is not worth, because for 20-30 quid, you could basically have like 3 courses of almost any meal delivered to your house, pretty much. Like you get a decent meal plus all the trimmings from almost anywhere. And to pay that for average pizza is just not something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a really nice Indian meal or really nice Chinese or whatever. But yeah, there we go. Papa John's. Which do you prefer, the trophy or the pizza?
Trophy.
This week, definitely the trophy.
Yeah.
They should stick to what they're good at, and that's sponsoring.
But I mean,
trophies.
if it was generally pizza or the trophy, I would pick pizza.
Yes, yeah. I don't.
This is not a real. It's not. I said it with the real verve of daddy or chips, but it's not that. But it's not that much of it. It's not that much of a Sophie's Choice.
No.
Sophie's Choice, because that's the name of the young girl in the McCain's chips advert.
Sophie, you need to tell us, daddy or chips. Oh, definitely chips. I hate you, Dad.
I've got an overall write-up I want to get into here, Rich, where I can compare my experience with the pizza, with the trophy, with the game, with the experience. So as I said, I went for the shakaroni, Rich. Much like the comparison with the lofty basketball business behemoth of a man, I was disappointed. The XL pizza that was touted seemed bigger than life itself, but arrived an underwhelming 15 inches. Maybe a bit like your girl when you tell her it's 12 inches and it's considerably less. And fundamentally, I'm somewhat disappointed with the Papa John's trophy. Much like that pizza, the trophy is what it says on the tin. Sorry, Johnson's Paint fans, for any crushing pun there. But it is pizza. In that it is pizza, there's also a lot of one thing itself. One is underwhelming dressed-up reserve football, and the other one is an underwhelming pepperoni pizza. The pizza, much like the football, is mildly saucy with a pepperoncini pepper option for a bit of spiciness that is often ignored and left for the compost. Excitement is nearby, but scarcely achieved. Much like the competition, it retains the same freshness as the highlights when the Zara is eaten cold the next day. Watching the game is much like enjoying the garlic butter aioli dip. I'm reminded I'll be dead soon and my best days are behind me, so I'm guiltily enjoying the unhealthy things while I have time. Much like the sponsorship marriage with functional household paint, the marriage of his trophy with the pizza sponsorship explains a dalliance of promised excitement with the crushing realization that this is more dull fodder to tide us over.
Oh, beautiful stuff. Wordsmith.
Thank you.
A wordsmith at work. And I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, it's hard not to be confronted with your own mortality when you eat pretty bad pizza and watch a pretty terrible football competition.
And I've done this podcast at the beginning of this, waking up early and having 2 slices of cold pizza. I tried to get Tim Hortons delivered, but it didn't happen. So I'm a bit less caffeinated this morning. And I just feel the salty fill of regret in the bottom of my stomach.
You're going to listen to some Nico.
I could just listen to more episodes of our podcast, I guess, really, because that's kind of naturally how it is. But,
no, we find the mirth amongst the misery.
Yeah, so I'm.
Luke has been so.
I hope that the other future Papa John's games are of a similar level of excitement to what we saw midweek.
Yeah,
because it was fun. It was a fun little dalliance. It was a fun little kind of mistress affair from the world of league football.
Good stuff. Well, I think we should probably leave it there.
I think so.
But it's nice. It was nice to get a game. Not. I mean, if we'd not had the Papa John's, if we'd not had any game, it'd be just been the loss and then a 2-week wait. That would have been pretty miserable. So it's nice to have had a little booster.
That's true.
In between times.
That's true.
And I think we've got to be thankful for that. And it gave us a chance to give a few more players a run out. And we await Sido's debut with interest. And we're still not seen Shodipo in the league, have we?
We've only seen in a we
Valiant in the
spot of a League Cup, which we're out of. Yeah.
So I'm going to say cheerio and wish you the best for the week ahead, Luke. Look after yourselves, and same to the folks at home. Thanks, Rich. Hope everyone at home has a good week too. Bye bye. Cheerio.